Hi, I'm Glenn Whipp with the Los Angeles Times. Emmy nominations came out early this morning, very early, and we've had several hours to think about it. Joining me, Times television critic Mary McNamara.
Good morning.
Good morning. Afternoon.
Is it after?
Yeah,
I guess it is technically afternoon, yes.
So you emailed me a couple hours ago saying, well, what are we going to talk about? And I said, I figured I'd just let you go for about 15 minutes on Tatiana Maslany and Orphan Black.
Seriously, there are many good things that came out of the nominations this morning, but I don't think I'm ever going to forgive the Television Academy for this. I mean, it's just absurd that Tatiana Maslany did not get a nomination for Orphan Black. She plays like 18 different characters, and she does them all so well, and she absolutely carries a show that has become one of the most buzzed about, talked about, watched shows this year, and it's like nothing. Radio silence, and it just goes to, which drives me insane about the Television Academy and the Film Academy, it's just the snobbery about sci-fi and fantasy. It's like it's somehow they're just, they won't nominate those shows. They really want the real life gritty whatever, modern whatever, but they won't. A Game of Thrones broke through, and that's the only one. And so it's kind of like, Lord of the Rings, we gave Lord of the Rings Oscars, and we will never give another fantasy film a nomination from the Film Academy. And now the TV Academy is doing the same thing. And it wasn't just Tatiana. I felt like the show should have been nominated. I felt like her co-stars should have been nominated. The writers should have been nominated. That is a great show. So, seriously, it took me like a half an hour just to be able to think about anything else. It was the snub of the century.
Yeah, well, and you mentioned buzzed about, talked about. I wonder, though, if Television Academy members, and this was what I was thinking about and trying to predict that category, did they see it?
Well, I actually tweeted that. Do Television Academy members actually watch television? Now, I know, because I know some of them, when you work in television, you actually don't have a lot of time to watch television. And so I do think, when I calm down a tiny bit, that the way in which these things are selected does work against a show like Orphan Black, because they're going off of like one or two screeners, and so obviously people send in for the acting categories, they send in the big huge moments. And the thing about a show like Orphan Black is that it's about continuity. It's about the ability for this character, this woman, this actor to carry these four main characters and then a revolving list of other characters to keep them separate and believable episode after episode after episode. And that's what's so astonishing. So that perhaps, although I still don't buy it, but perhaps it doesn't come across as well in like one or two episodes. But I think it's just snobbery. I really do. I think it's just, oh my God, this is about clones. We can't give this, it's ridiculous.
That's the Academy members who live out in the Valley.
Exactly. I don't know. Who are too busy giving nominations to Downton Abbey.
Valley Academy members kind of be into the clone show?
I don't know. I also think maybe it's an age issue. Like, I know we did that great project about the Film Academy, and I'm actually going, what is the median age of the Television Academy? Because they do skew. That was, this year looked a lot like last year. We had a lot of the usual suspects. Mad Men is back, Downton Abbey's back, shows that, but like The Good Wife didn't get a Best Drama nomination. There were, it's just you do feel a cut and paste mentality sometimes when you look at the nominations. But, the good news that came out of it, and there was good news, is Orange is the New Black. Orange is the New Black racked up 12 nominations, including Best Comedy. There was some, it was listed as a drama for the Golden Globes, and then it switched to comedy. It's a terrific show. It should win many of the awards for which it is nominated. So, once I got over the Tatiana snub, I kind of focused on Orange is the New Black as being like that we are moving forward, because that is such a new kind of show. Never mind Netflix. It's just like, it's the whole, like, it's almost an all-female cast. It's like this... It's drama, it's comedy, it's about women in prison, it's like sex like you've never seen it on television, it's women like you've never seen them on television. The diversity of the cast, the diversity of the story, it's astonishing. And so I'm really glad to see it getting a lot of nominations.
And that lead actress drama category, for which Tatiana was left out.
Unbelievable.
Crazy deep category, though.
Yes.
So many,
so
many
women.
There's a lot of people who are going to be fans of The Americans, fans.
Yes, where was Carrie Russell?
And then you mentioned Mad Men. See, I mean, the thing for me about the Emmy nominations is that there's so much great television. So it's like great. So the ones that they got wrong just stand out more, don't they?
Well, and it also goes to show you, I mean, it's like this past couple of years we've really been having issues with the categories, and the categories are still, I mean, they're very weird. It's like, so you have True Detective is listed as a series, but American Horror Story, in which the actors are actually coming back year after year, is a miniseries. And then you have
Fargo is a miniseries.
Fargo is a miniseries.
Even though it has more episodes than True Detective.
But I don't know, is it clear that it's coming back for a second season?
It's not clear, and if it does,
that I sort of understand. I mean, Downton Abbey did that. They were first nominated the first year as a miniseries because they claimed they didn't know that they were going to come back. Okay, maybe. But this, I mean, Fargo actually has more of a miniseries feel, because you could end Fargo right there, and and that's what it was. I don't think they will do it, especially with all the nominations that they got this year. Then you also had, like, with Orange is the New Black, so many of what I would consider, co-stars, supporting actresses were listed as guest actresses, and you were explaining to me that it's because they appear after the opening credits.
Yeah, their names aren't in the opening credits.
Right.
So, like Uzo Aduba, Laverne Cox, Natasha Lyonne, I think, was billed as a special guest star.
Which is crazy.
So even though they're all in every episode.
Right, exactly. And so that's kind of weird. And so you do sort of see the way that the Academy is trying to adjust for the fact that there is just too much television to nominate all of the deserving shows. Right. And so they're kind of like moving people around so you can show, oh, this is a great show. It got all these nominations, even though some of them are in categories that maybe they shouldn't be in, But I don't know. I think that we're really coming to a crossroads where they're going to have to look at how you divide. I mean, and of course the broadcast networks are just empty-handed. It's like, I mean, Juliana Margulies, again, with Kerry Washington, so there are two.
A lot of people thought James Spader was
a
gonna
lot of
get in
people,
for
no,
Blacklist.
that didn't happen. So it's like, so we are coming to a point where you do see where they're going to have to figure out a way to divide the different kinds of television there is right now, because it isn't fair to have a 23 episode procedural or even just a straight drama go up against an 11 episode, a 10 episode cable show. I mean, it's apples and oranges, and so they really need to figure out a way to distinguish it. And I think they should do it by size. I mean, rather than by over the years, people say, well, they're going to have to separate broadcast versus cable. But I think, you're seeing now on the broadcast network some smaller shows coming out where they're just going to have like 4 or 5 or 6, a special event or whatever. They're just going to have to figure out, categories based on like number of episodes.
This small stack of papers here, this is just like the major acting categories. You can't possibly be telling me right now we need more Emmys.
And then it'll have to be like the Emmy broadcast will have to be special event television. It'll have to be like 3 nights at the Emmys.
Right.
I don't know
the
what
weekend
the
at the Emmys. Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is, but it does seem like I mean, the good news is, there's just so much good television. You could fill almost every single slot with a different name, and they would still deserve it.
I just wish there was a focus on the season at hand rather than, say, the longevity of the show. The Good Wife had been absent, came back this year with really strong, maybe its best season ever, no serious nomination. Christina Hendricks, nominated for supporting actress for Mad Men, barely in the show this 7 episodes, while Elizabeth Moss, not nominated this year, as she had been for a while, quite great in the series. It's really hard to figure out the logic in it.
Well, again, I think it's based on what they're seeing. If they're not keeping up with the shows, they're seeing certain screeners, and so I think a lot of, especially with the acting nominations, are based on that. I think also there's just this sense of well, this is an important show, so we'll keep nominating it. I mean, Downton Abbey, I don't think it should. I mean, I like it. I don't think it should have made the cut. I think there were other shows that were more deserving this season. I think it was better this season than it was last season, and it was nominated last season, and it was very weak last season. But I think, I mean, people have their favorites, and people have, feel affection for shows. It's like, John Hamm gets nominated year after year after year after year. Not all of his years have been as strong as, and he still hasn't won. And it is kind of, we are getting to the end.
Yeah.
It is a little worrisome. But, but then you look at something like The Walking Dead, which has never been nominated for anything and is still not nominated for anything. And when I think about a world in which Norman Reedus never wins an Emmy, it just is like, why do we bother? Why do we bother?
You want to get the crossbow out and...
Well, we want to. I mean, here's a guy who has like made a character that was a throwaway character in the beginning. In the pilot, it was just like kind of very stereotypical rednecky, sweaty, with the big bulging things and the crossbow. And now he is like has created a template for a whole new kind of character on television. I mean, it's like I find myself looking at new television shows and going, okay, who's the Daryl in this? Who's the breakout supporting character that we're all going to hook our heart to, so that, first of all, we can let the main character go through whatever gyrations they need to and become bad guys and good guys, but we still have somebody that, day in and day out we can trust. Right. And that's not acknowledged ever. It hasn't been acknowledged yet. I mean, the Michonne character is, I mean, she's wonderful. It's like, where, again, it comes down to the genre snobbery. But, I think everybody looks at these lists and they are going, where are my people?
Right, right.
And I think that just shows you, I mean, that we've talked about over and over again. It's just how emotionally attached we are to television and how broad an art form it is right now.
I don't want to hold up the members of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association as exemplars of taste or quality. But, the show that they awarded, but on television they're frequently ahead of the curve because their awards are in January. They get kind of the jump start on the news shows. This year they gave Brooklyn Nine-Nine Best Comedy.
That's right. Yes.
And a lot of people expected, and I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I do too.
I think it's one of those great workplace comedies that combines a lot of laughs, very funny, also with just characters that you start to care about over the course of the season. And outside of Andre Braugher,
right,
nothing.
Didn't get anything. No, and that's kind of, I mean, yes, exactly. It's like, where is that? Where was that in, it's like The Big Bang Theory. I mean, it's like there are certain things that I think they just automatically put in, unless The Big Bang Theory knocked over a liquor store collectively, it's going to get an Emmy nomination, no matter what. And that is not to knock The Big Bang Theory, by the way, because I am a big fan. I'm just talking about these shows that just seem like, year after year. I was actually very happy to see Andre get the nomination, and I feel like, I mean, he's great in the show, but he's also one of those actors who's great in everything. It's like wherever he goes, he's great, and he's had a bad run where, like, some of his shows, what was the last one where he was on the submarine, and I can't even remember, isn't that terrible?
It's already disappeared.
It's already disappeared. And so I think that it's kind of like, body of work. It's like, let's get him. This show actually made it through the first season, so let's give him an award because he is terrific, and it's really good to see him.
Although, as much as and you mentioned, I'm not a huge Big Bang Theory fan, although that's the email I get from readers all the time. I mean, obviously, it has a large amount of fans, huge amount of fans.
Right.
So. Yeah, that's probably the one that I would take out of the category. But I guess Silicon Valley was the one that nobody saw coming and got sort of the Brooklyn Nine-Nine spot in there.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Great reviews. Another one of these HBO sort of niche shows that critics love, have a small audience like Veep. They're great shows.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's
and
really
they're going up against
against
the Big Bang Theories and the Modern Families, the big network juggernauts.
I think people, I mean, I was not surprised. Here's a show about white tech boys on HBO. It's like, and it got an Emmy nomination. What a surprise! I mean, I'm the only one who wasn't surprised about that. It's a very good show. I think one of the things that people really like about it is they've, television and film has sort of danced around the tech industry and never quite. I mean, we had The Social Network, but never quite hit it, and this is a very successful, and it's a very good, solid, funny way into this, a very tantalizing world that we're all very curious about, and they do a nice job. So I mean, I was not surprised by that. But yeah, it would have been great if Brooklyn Nine-Nine had got. It would have been great if The Middle would be nominated like just one damn year, because it's like that is a super great show.
I get a lot too.
And it's like every year, it's, I mean, and I've been arguing that it's just as good as Modern Family, which I love, you know. But it's like, come on, you know, why, you know, because. Why? Because the interiors aren't as glamorous as on Modern Family, because the you know, the humor is not quite as what do you want to say, like, you
topical,
know, or whatever. It's just really good family comedy. But to me, as the mother of children that are the ages of, it's like it's so dead on, you know, every single episode. And they've, you know, I guess you get to the point where it's just like going, okay, we're not going to get the Emmy, and we're going to all survive. I mean, I've never won an Emmy, and I have like led a successful and, you know, fulfilling life, and I think I think most people do, and it will be fine.
Yeah, I've written about The Middle, you know, this was the first year that I just gave up. The 2 years before I was writing and writing. Why about The Middle? Come on, guys, it's just as good as Modern Family. This year I just stopped because I just realized it wasn't going to happen. I was thinking to myself,
what would it take to get The Middle an Emmy nomination? It's like, does someone almost have to die? Does Sue have to like get unexpectedly pregnant? I mean, it's like the thing that I love about the show is that they never go for those big splashy like kind of topics. They just kind of keep it at, you know, here's what a family is like on sort of that dull boil that we most of us live at all the time. So you know, they don't get the Emmys, and it's too bad. But you know, so it'll be interesting to see. I mean, that comedy is very varied. I mean, you know, we've got Louie versus Modern Family versus Orange is the New Black. It's almost like you really see how comedy has just gone. It's just, you don't even know how to define it. I mean, you have like a Nurse Jackie, although it's not up for Best Show, but Edie Falco is up, and it's like, so you have Nurse Jackie and Orange is the New Black, where it's like kind of, are they comedies? Are they dramas? Are they, and my piece tomorrow is going to look at like how women have changed the role of comedy, because they bring like sort of this dramatic comedy, dark comedy, because that way women are allowed to do things in these comedies that they couldn't do in a drama, to be violent, to be, you know, promiscuous, to be drug addicts, to be, you know, which men can do in a drama and still be considered a lead character, but women really can't still, because they have a higher need to be likable in dramas.
Well, that's the question in the comedy series. Modern Family, 4 years running. Each of its years on TV, it's won. This year would be 5, which would tie it with Frasier. It's got to end. And I think it will, because only 2 of the men were nominated for supporting actor.
You're reading the tea leaves.
No Sofia Vergara for supporting actress. So there are cracks in the foundation.
Yeah.
And it would seem like Orange is the New Black is kind of the show building up some steam.
I think Orange is the New Black is so symbolic of all the changes in television, and it's so damn good that it's like, I think that it would make me very happy if it won on like so many levels, because it would show that, you know, not just that this very unusual show is getting sort of the love from, you know, the often calcified Academy, but also just like it just opens the doors for so many different kinds of shows, because that's what's so great when an unusual kind of show wins. When a Louis C.K. finally wins an Emmy, it's like, oh, okay, look, not only do the critics like him, but he won an Emmy, so now maybe we can do, you know, something that we wouldn't have done a year before because we were too afraid. And I think that that's what's so important about giving these innovative shows awards, is to further expand the, you know, what can be on all the networks that we have available to us.
Well, the Emmys are earlier this year, August 25th, so we've only got about 6 weeks to figure out where it's going.
It's like every year. My birthday is September 22nd, and like almost every year I've like spent either my birthday or the day after my birthday, you know, doing the Emmys, and it's like, I don't know, I get to have a birthday this year. I'm so excited.
Celebrate this year.
But it's like, I'm so afraid that I'm going to forget. Like, I'll be looking, you know, my editor will be calling, where are you? The Emmys are on. Like, what are you talking about? It's August.
You'll be waking up in the middle of the night that night going,
it's the Emmys,
where's my dress?
Yeah. No, so it's going to be very exciting. It's, you know, it's, when I think back to, you know, what, 6 or 7 years ago, when it was kind of like half the categories felt scraped together. It was like, we got to get somebody in here.
Right. Yeah. Now there's too much.
Now it's just like
jam
packed.
Yeah. Good problem to have.
It is a quality problem.
All right. Well, thank you. Thanks for watching, everyone. And for more television coverage, please go to latimes.com. Take care.